This story is truly going to be a thrilling ride because it has everything: action, fantasy, and a powerful protagonist. The main character, Leonis, has been reincarnated into the same world but as a child. The exciting part? He still retains half of his original powers. In his past life, Leonis was a demon lord locked in a fierce battle against the gods. The story opens with an intense battle scene set far in the past, where the demon lord's undead skeleton army fights against 6 great heroes. The skeletons were nearly indestructible, while the heroes' army consisted of human soldiers blessed with divine magic, indicating that the gods supported them. As the battle progresses, the frontline defenses of the demon lords start to crumble, which infuriates Leonis. Just then, he spots a massive golden tree-like creature, prompting him to consider joining the battle himself. But his loyal subordinates remind him of the oath he made to the goddess of rebellion, to stay out of this conflict. Reluctantly, Leonis accepts his defeat, declaring that he will return after 1,000 years to reclaim his dominion. He then seals himself inside a soul-capturing stone. The story then fast-forwards 1,000 years. The scene shifts to the same place where Leonis once ruled, now declared a forbidden ruin. 2 girls, Celia and Regina, from the prestigious Holy Sword Academy, arrive to explore the tomb, hoping to find ancient magical items or weapons. Inside, Celia discovers a stone inscribed with ancient language. As she touches it, the stone activates and reveals a sealed chamber. Regina goes down a separate path while Celia enters the chamber alone, where she finds the soul-capturing stone. The scene then shifts to Leonis, who appears before Rosalia, the same girl he once made a promise to. Rosalia informs him that the 1,000 years are over, and his time to return has arrived. As she leaves, Leonis tries to stop her, but she says, "If fate allows, we'll meet again." Back in the chamber, Celia sees a figure inside the stone and starts shooting at it to rescue whoever is trapped. Leonis, now conscious, suspects she's trying to steal his magic stone. To scare her off, he releases a fraction of his power, which breaks the crystal and knocks Celia unconscious. Thinking she might be an elf from Clan Klein, he prepares to eliminate her, but she regains consciousness and, to his surprise, asks why a little child like him is in such a place. Leonis then notices his reflection in the crystal and is shocked to see that his reincarnation spell seems to have failed. Instead of returning as the demon lord, he's been reborn into his original form, when he was still considered a hero. As Celia checks if he's okay and hugs him reassuringly, Leonis suddenly faints. When he wakes up, he realizes he must have been unconscious due to hunger after not eating for 1,000 years. Celia offers him cookies and introduces herself as a student of the Holy Sword Academy, a school that trains warriors to fight against monsters. Leonis realizes he needs to extract as much information from her as possible to understand what happened over the last millennium. Celia asks if he was the one who brought the void monsters into the area. Leonis is puzzled, having never heard of such creatures. Celia explains that void monsters are extremely dangerous beings from another world, and their academy was created specifically to fight them. She and Regina were sent to this tomb to investigate and collect information, but instead, they found him. Leonis is stunned. In his time, humans only had 2 major enemies: the demon lord, himself, and the goddess of rebellion. Just then, Regina calls to inform them that she's spotted several void monsters nearby and asks Celia to come immediately. Before Celia can leave, a void monster appears and attacks. She fires her pistol, but it has no effect. The monster moves in to strike. Leonis, wanting to help, tries to use his magic but stumbles and falls. Thankfully, Regina arrives just in time and uses her powerful cannon to defeat the creature. But the monster revives, more dangerous than before. Regina transforms her cannon and launches a full-powered blast to destroy it. As more void monsters appear, Celia grabs Leonis and runs to safety. Along the way, they encounter a high-level void monster, far stronger than the last one. Celia draws her sword, but Leonis knows she can't defeat it. She struggled with the weaker one and lacks a special weapon. He prepares to use his magic, but Celia pushes him away and takes the hit herself. The monster's attack leaves her severely wounded, bleeding heavily. Leonis couldn't believe what he was seeing. Celia was still alive. Bleeding heavily, she apologized to him, saying, "I'm sorry, I couldn't protect you." But just then, a void monster began approaching her, and more were on the way. Leonis's mind was overwhelmed. He had just been thinking about how he could extract information from Celia about the current world, but now she was dying, saving him. This moment triggered a powerful memory from his past. A long time ago, someone named Rosalia had saved his life, back when he was still considered a hero. But even then, the people he protected betrayed him, and that betrayal was what drove him to become the Demon Lord. And now, things were happening in reverse. Emotions began to stir in Leonis, something he didn't want. Standing up, Leonis faced the attacking void monsters. Though he didn't outwardly show it, a force of magic surrounded him like a barrier. "You dared trespass into my castle? Now face your punishment," he declared coldly. With just a glimpse of his true power, he destroyed the monsters with ease. But then he noticed something strange. Unlike before, the bones of the monsters remained intact. That had never happened before, not even with powerful dragons. These void monsters, they weren't from this world. They were like aliens from another planet. Leonis turned to Celia again. She was still barely alive, but any moment could be her last. He was frustrated. He had no healing powers. But then he cast a rare magical spell. In a flash, the blood returned to her body, and her wounds vanished. However, her eyes had turned red, and a strange magical seal had appeared on her leg. Just then, Regina arrived. Leonis noticed something odd. These people had magical weapons, but they didn't seem capable of using magic themselves. He concluded that humans must have stopped practicing magic and lost their connection to it over time. Celia then explained the truth. 60 years ago, a great war was fought between void monsters and humans, and the humans lost. After the war, children started receiving a mysterious power called Holy Power, which allowed them to control elements like fire and wind. Only a few special children developed this ability, and those chosen few were given a place at the Holy Sword Academy. Because Celia believed Leonis had healing powers, she decided to take him to that academy. The two of them, along with Regina, then rode their magical bike toward the city. As they approached, Leonis was stunned by the sight. Humans had advanced far more than he had expected. Then the scene shifts. We're taken into a flashback, into the childhood memories of Celia and Regina. During Celia and Regina's childhood, the void monsters launched a full-scale assault on the city. The authorities hurried everyone into bunkers, while the elite Holy Sword magicians fought on the streets above. Although Celia came from an ordinary background, her parents were both renowned holy knights, an exalted rank granted only to children who awaken their powers early, so she believed they would surely repel the enemy. Yet when the battle finally ended and the survivors emerged, the city lay in smoking ruins. Years later, Celia, Regina, and Leonis approached that same metropolis. Celia explains that, astonishingly, the entire city can relocate. It has merely halted here because of the recent monster threat. Leonis is baffled. How could something so vast simply move? He keeps his thoughts to himself, formulating a plan to rebuild his Demon Lord army, but deciding he needs far more information first. When Celia and Regina step away briefly, Leonis ducks into a public restroom and summons two familiars from his past, Sarai, his dutiful maid, and Blackess, Prince of the Shadow Realm, a loyal, dog-shaped demon. Both are shocked to see him in his child form. Leonis explains that a millennium has passed, magic has all but vanished from the world, and they must investigate carefully before raising an army. After passing a security checkpoint, where Leonis quietly silences an alarm with a spell, he receives a city ID card. Celia snaps a photo of it, just in case, then whisks him off on her bike for a sightseeing sweep. She points out that the city is divided into 3 districts: residential, commercial, and administration, with the Holy Sword Academy at its heart. The academy not only trains future warriors but also governs the city's entire military. Inside the academy gates, towering buildings, dance halls, theaters, Even a cricket stadium astonish Leonis. Celia explains that art and recreation help students forge the emotional bond needed to awaken a holy sword. Without heart, divine power stays dormant. Moments later, an arrogant male classmate appears and mocks Celia for still lacking her holy sword. He tries to drag her into his clique, bullying her when she refuses. Leonis's patience snaps. He crushes the boy with a burst of gravity magic. The bully retaliates by activating his own holy sword ability, illegal against a child, but a senior student, Elphine, arrives and stops him. Elphine apologizes to Leonis, then asks Celia for a full Void Monster report and promises to send Leonis proper clothes so he can enroll at the academy himself. Back in the girls' dormitory, Celia suddenly collapses, the mysterious seal on her leg flaring. Leonis touches the mark, and her eyes glow crimson. She lunges forward and instinctively bites him. Horrified, Celia apologizes, but Leonis calmly explains. To save her life earlier, he used a forbidden, level 10 life and death spell, transforming her into a vampire queen, the highest rank within his future demon army. The spell restored her mana but bound her to him. She will need blood periodically to maintain her strength. Though shaken, Celia decides to trust him and shares more of her past, how her parents died in the city's fall, how she and Regina pinned their hopes on awakening a holy sword. Later, they visit the academy cafeteria. Unsure what a vampire diet requires, Celia timidly orders only bread, worried about the cost. Leonis laughs, producing an ancient gold coin, more than enough to buy the entire hall. Celia shakes her head. That won't work here. We pay with credits. Clearly, he still has much to learn about this new age, and the new age has even more to learn about him. As Leonis was listening, surprised by everything being said, they suddenly noticed a girl walking toward them. Her outfit was different. She wasn't wearing the official academy uniform. Because of this, two boys began harassing her and blocked her path. But the girl, unshaken, calmly pulled out her wooden sword and beat them both up until they ran away. Just then, Celia and Leonis arrived at the scene. It turned out, the girl was actually Celia's friend. Her name was Celia. When they reached her, they asked what had happened, and Celia explained everything in detail. Then, noticing Leonis, she mentioned that Elphine had already told her about him and guessed that this boy must be Leonis. Celia confirmed it and shared how they had found him in the tomb and how she had saved his life. Leonis then learned that Celia had dedicated her entire life to becoming a short knight, a title for elite warrior trainees. She had spent most of her time in intense training sessions. Since she frequently fought void monsters during training missions, she earned plenty of credit points, enough that she generously offered a meal to both Celia and Leonis. While they were eating, Leonis asked Celia why she wore that unusual dress. She explained that it was the traditional attire of her homeland, which had been completely destroyed during a void monster attack. Her entire family and village perished, and she was the sole survivor. Now, she wore the dress to honor the memory of her home and her only sister. The academy had granted her permission to wear it for this reason. After their conversation, it was finally time to take Leonis for his academy admission test. They went to see Miss Alto, who informed them that Leonis would need to demonstrate his power. She asked him to summon his holy sword, the weapon he had chosen. Leonis pulled out his magic staff, the same one he had kept for 1,000 years. Celia and Miss Alto found the weapon odd but didn't question it further. Nearby were a few training robots, specially designed to react like real void monsters. The academy had captured the essence of the monsters and used it to train these robots, making them equal to standard-level void monsters. Miss Alto instructed Leonis to use his staff and demonstrate his power, but warned him not to go all out since he was still a child. She told him to only use level 2 power. Leonis followed her instructions and used only a fraction of his true strength, yet he still destroyed the robots instantly. Celia and Miss Alto were stunned. They wondered if perhaps the robots had been set to too low a difficulty level and decided to increase it to get a better reading of Leonis's capabilities. Just then, the same boy from earlier arrived, the one who had previously bullied Celia. His name was Muzel, and he offered to personally test Leonis's power. Miss Alto agreed, saying there was no harm, as Muzel's combat level matched the upgraded robot settings. Muzel had been waiting for a chance to get back at Leonis. Seizing the opportunity, he summoned his holy sword and activated his powers. Then, in a shocking twist, the four girls who always followed him also summoned their holy swords. Muzel had been controlling their minds, forcing them to fight for him. Seeing this, Celia was outraged. "This is cheating," she exclaimed. But Muzel just smirked and replied, "No, it's my power." This wasn't cheating, not for Leonis. Fighting these 5 opponents was child's play for him, and he knew it. Still, things took a turn when Celia insisted on joining the battle. Surprisingly, Ngel, their opponent, was all too happy about this. He smirked and said, "Fine, but now this is cheating. So let's make it interesting. If I defeat you, you'll become my servant and join my group." To protect Leonis, Celia had no choice but to accept. Leonis could have easily refused, he didn't need help, but he deliberately stayed silent. He wanted Celia to get into a tight spot so she could awaken to her true power. Even so, to give her a bit of confidence, Leonis reassured her, "I won't let anything happen to Celia." The match began with both teams facing off. Celia moved ahead, her role was to protect Leonis. Ngel first sent one girl to attack Celia. She blocked the strike effortlessly. Then he sent another, and Celia fought her too. Though Ngel's real target was Celia, he made a foolish mistake. He sent another girl to attack Leonis. Celia's attention wavered, concerned, but Leonis casually blocked the weak attack with ease. Then, the 4th girl came at Celia, and she was defeated without much effort. Even Regina was watching the battle now, impressed by how Celia took down 3 attackers using nothing but her raw strength. Fired up, Celia now charged at Ngel directly. But this is exactly what he wanted. Seizing the moment, Ngel activated the second power of his holy sword. While the first could control minds, the second could paralyze anyone, and Celia was now completely frozen in place. Smug, Ngel approached her and said mockingly, "Wait here, I'll deal with the boy first." He turned toward Leonis. Leonis could have stopped him easily, and he was about to, but just then, Celia started whispering to herself. She pleaded with her holy sword, "I can't be patient anymore. I need power. I died once because of my weakness, and the one who saved me, I won't let him die." She repeated her plea over and over, and everyone turned to look at her. Suddenly, her body began to glow. The ordinary sword in her hand vanished, replaced by a powerful surge of energy. It was transforming into a true holy sword. It was unlike any other, and even Miss Alto, watching from afar, was stunned. "Am I seeing this right?" she whispered. With her new holy sword, Celia shattered the magic that had paralyzed her. She launched a powerful attack at Ngel, who raised his holy sword in defense, but Celia's blade sliced it clean in half. As the sword broke, the 4 girls under Ngel's control were also freed. Everyone cheered, especially Celia, who was overwhelmed with joy. Regina beamed with pride too. Later, Celia thanked Leonis, but he brushed it off. "No need for thanks," he said. "You're the vampire queen now. Protecting me is part of your role." He was hiding his true emotions as always. But Celia smiled and said, "Doesn't matter if I have powers or not. I'll still protect you." Later, the group celebrated over dinner. Celia had finally awakened her holy sword. But now came a new question. Where would Leonis stay? The girls' dorm only allowed female residents. But since Leonis had officially joined the academy, he needed accommodations. Regina quickly offered, "You can stay with me. I love making sweets, so you'll get desserts every day." Elfine and Sakuya added their own tempting benefits, making Leonis unsure who to choose. Before he could decide, Celia stepped in. "Leonis is staying with me. I have secrets only he can help with." But Leonis smirked. "She just wants my blood to regain her mana." Later, Leonis and Elfine sat in her room. She had something important to share about her past. Once a member of a powerful group, her team was caught in a deadly trap set by their enemies. She was the only survivor. Since then, she hadn't been able to fully use her power. She gave Leonis a map with recent sightings of void monsters, asking him to investigate. As Leonis examined the map, he summoned Blackus, instructing him to explore those areas. Then he called Sherry, who had been blending in among humans to gather intel. But all she brought back was donuts. Humans have invented this delicious thing in 1,000 years, she grinned. Leonis sighed, so nothing useful? But then Sherry revealed something important. Humans had forgotten everything. The demon lord, the gods, even the great battle that led to Leonis sealing himself, all lost to history. Leonis shrugged it off. That doesn't matter. He sent Sherry to gather more intel. Still, she seemed hurt, perhaps jealous of the fact that Celia, now Vampire Queen, held such a high position in Leonis's demon army. But Leonis believed strong people were necessary. Celia now possessed not just vampire power but a mysterious holy sword too. Then we flash back to Leonis's past. He was searching for an evil monster, guided by a villager. The villager seemed helpful until he vanished. Leonis realized too late it was a trap. Suddenly, enemies appeared and used gravity spells to pin him down. Guards from the kingdom arrived. They didn't like his power, and the nobles envied him. They chained him up and launched a brutal attack, piercing his body with weapons. He was left for dead. As Leonis lay dying, a girl approached him. She knew he was still conscious and asked, "How does it feel to be betrayed by the very people you protected?" She introduced herself, Rosalia. She offered him a choice. "I want revenge on this world. Will you help me?" Leonis looked at her. Rosalia promised to heal him completely, not to return as a hero, but as a Darklord. All she wanted was a vow that he'd help her take revenge. Leonis agreed.